Morning from Marion's World. Project day today. I've narrowed it down to 5 things that I've been wanting to get done, and I'm going to take you through each one just quickly, but enough so you can tell me which one you think I should do next. The stitch book's going to be done anyway, but I always have 2 or 3 things on the go. And I've actually just been making this skirt, which I might film another one because I made it in about an hour and a half, and it's really comfortable, and I'll show you in a minute. This is a skirt. It's 18th century petticoat pattern. It's done in sort of 2 halves, and so the back ties to the front and the front ties to the back, and the pocket is separate on a separate little thing. I don't know if I can show you. Yes, I can. Look, my pocket's a separate pocket. Ta-da! You put your hand in like that. Isn't that cool? So then you don't need a pocket on every skirt, you just take your pocket and you wear that with whatever else you're wearing. So you have a cool separate pocket on a little ribbon. Anyway, I'm going to make another one and I'll try and film it because it actually took me about an hour and a half to make it. So that's the skirt. Anyway, we're in my dining room because there's not enough room on my sewing table to lay all the projects out. So I'm actually filming in the dining room, and I've got my cup of tea, obviously. Can't do anything without a cup of tea in my hand. And so I'm just going to skip right into it. Here are 5 projects, and whichever one people think I should do next, that's the one I'm going to go with. Cheers, and here's to the projects. Okay, we're in the dining room, projects laid out on the table, cup of tea at the ready, and 5 quite different things probably. Oh, and I'll just show you a shot of my quilt on my dining room wall. I made that quite a few years ago. The trees were actually machine pieced together, but then the whole thing was hand quilted, and I did love it there. So project number 1 is the Lichen Duster by So Liberated. I bought this in March, when I was at the Sewing for Pleasure at Birmingham. Don't know whether you can. I'm still useless at videoing everyone. It's a lovely flowing coat, I thought. And I bought the fabric, which is unlike me because I like to thrift everything. But I did actually buy this beautiful Chartreuse linen. So it's stone washed linen. It's really lovely and soft. It'll be a pleasure to sew. And my intention is to sew that by hand. So that is hand sewn seams, whether they're French or lapped, possibly embroidery on the front, along the collar or the pocket edges. Not quite sure till I've done it, but definitely a hand sew. Project number 1. Project number 2, another pattern, another bought pattern, the Hinterland dress, again by So Liberated. I really rate their patterns. They're really easy to sew and nice to wear. I felt I wanted to make the one without sleeves, but I really like the placket here going down. I really like that. The problem is I've got these 3 bits of fabric and neither one I think is quite enough. So it would be a bit of creative using some of the fabrics, but this is a really nice cotton. It's nice and loose. It's going to make a pretty summer dress. This one is also really nice. It's going to be a bit creasy, and I'm not exactly an ironer, so I'm not sure about that one, but I do like the pattern. And this is a double gauze, and I love the colour and I love the feel. I think I might have a bit more of that. But again, I'm not quite sure that I've actually got enough. So a bit of creativity, that would definitely be a machine sew. So that's going to be a quick make. That's number 2. Number 3 is what I've been collecting in the bag. I want to make myself a borrow style jacket. I have already made myself a quilted jacket out of an old quilt I made myself, but I did it on the machine. And what I've been collecting in here are some vintage fabrics. So I have some vintage sort of 1960s, 70s curtain material. That's really nice. I've got that, which is very worn curtain material. I love it. I've got some leftover linen from another dress I've made. That's lovely. More curtain cotton, so not overly thick, but really pretty. And then this pile, I actually bought off eBay, which is unusual for me because I don't tend to buy off eBay at all. But I just happened to see them, and it was a lady clearing out stuff that she'd collected over lockdown and realised she didn't actually sew like she thought she would have. And so she was selling these vintage kimono cottons. And she'd got them from someone who used to go around selling the fabrics in Japan and was getting rid of a lot of stash. And so these are absolutely gorgeous. And I have decent patches of it. Oh, look at that purple. That purple is just delicious. But as you can see, I've got patches of it, which is great because I want to do a patchwork style jacket. So I've got all these lovely Japanese fabrics to patch together. This also is a hand sew. So I don't have a pattern. I don't think I need a pattern. I think I just do it in the really traditional manner. Look at that. Oh man, that is gorgeous. I did in the traditional manner with no pattern. I'll use a sheet for the base and just hand stitch them on. What I've also got that can possibly go in here is, you've just recently given these old fabric sample books, and they have beautiful pieces of old fabric that's been trade samples, and there are some really beautiful ones in. I think they'd work well in my coat, and the only thing is I'm not sure whether they'll wash, so I'll be taking some of these fabrics off the papers. Look at that one. Off the papers. I'll be hand washing them to see whether they shrink. If they do, great, I can then use them because I want my coat to be washable. And the other thing is whether they bleed any colour. So I'll take the ones that I think are the most likely to be used, and I'll hand wash them, and they will go in the coat. This is another, so this is another hand stitched thing. That's project number 3. Project number 4, I've actually just swapped because I'd forgotten this was going to be in it, and so I've just swapped a little project out for this one. This quilt has been waiting to be finished probably for about 8 or even 10 years. It's been a long time. I pieced it together so long ago. It's so beautiful. I was over the moon with it. I'll just try and show you. It's a beautiful big size. I'm going to show you the colours. So it's really pretty. I love it. However, I'm going to show you a close up. Look at that, it's gorgeous. What happened was I was practicing machine quilting, which I had done once prior, and I decided I would machine quilt this. And I actually did not a bad job. I'm trying to look for it now. I'm looking for the bit I did here. I didn't do too bad a job of this bit. I hope you're getting that. I sort of did a feather here, just free machine quilting with my machine. And this sort of thing in the middle of here. So I did that one and it came out fine. And so I started to do all the middles. So I've done another one, that's 2. And for some reason I decided to change it all up, and I changed the pattern and I made a total mess of it. And there, just a total load of rubbish. And I couldn't be bothered to unpick it, but it sort of put me off. So that needs to be unpicked anyway. So I'm at the stage of thinking, I need to finish this off. All I have left that I've kept with it all this time is this bit of brown sheeting that I'd cut into bias for the edge, because I didn't have enough of any of the other fabrics to make an edging. But I really want to finish this off. And so I was struggling to think, do I really want to do this machine quilting on here? I'm not sure that I do. Or if I do, I don't want to do all that feather stuff. Plus I'm not sure whether I can do that on the banana or not. Then if I'm going to hand quilt it, there's always going to be this that's not matching, which actually doesn't bother me. But maybe I would just do like that. So like that part has the quilting line there, and it has this middle done. Maybe I could hand quilt all of them like that, and then at least it would get finished off. So that is project number 4. It's been waiting a long time. It's another, it could be machine, it could be hand. I think it's been so long waiting, I just can't make my mind up anymore, and that's why it's still waiting. It's all pinned together with quilt pins. It's got warm and natural batting there. It's old sheets pieced together on the back with some ticking that I had, but I've extended it with old sheets. So project number 4. Project number 5 is definitely slightly weird, but I'm quite excited to do it as well. This is actually an old lampshade. It's an old glass lampshade I found in my dad's shed when my brother and sister and I were clearing out. It was clear glass. I just decided it looked like a cactus and I would plant cactuses in it. So I brought it home, painted the inside with the blue and green, which showed up the lovely form of it, and filled it with soil, and for ages it's had a cactus planted in it. However, the cactus wasn't doing very well because where I have my plants is quite dark. It doesn't get really that much light. And so I've had 2 different cacti in it and they've both struggled. So a few weeks ago I took the cactus out altogether, and it popped in my head maybe I'd make a fabric cactus or a fabric plant that would go in it and sit among my real plants, and then it would be fine. So the reason the mushroom's standing in there at the moment is my actual idea that I'm going to do is I want to make some mushrooms. So what I'm intending to do is to empty the soil out, obviously. I want to make some fabric mushrooms that are going to go in there and look like a beautiful display. And I wanted moss to go on. So I think that I'm going to cut a cardboard circle out that'll fit in the top of there. Then I will cover that with felt, build it up to be a bit 3D, cover it in embroidered moss, make my fabric mushrooms, stick it all together, then it'll go on among my plants. And I'll show you where it's going to go, and then you can see. So that's my 5 projects. This is where the lampshade sits among my plant collection. That's where the cactus was and now isn't. And so a mushroom, embroidered fabric, creation needs to sit there and look nice. So that's it. 5 lovely projects. Any of them I'd be happy to be doing because some of them have been waiting a long time. Whichever one I get the most comments for, that's the one that I will end up doing. But that will be alongside doing a new stitch book. So as far as I know, I'll be doing a pre-stitch book post next Sunday, and I'll tell you the idea I've had and the sort of things you might need if you want to do one as well. I also want to say I'm just so pleased that everybody loves the Raven as much as I do. Really enjoyed making him, and I sort of started to get more ideas about it because it got me thinking when I was watching the little video I made myself, why is a kingly raven being a messenger? Maybe there's a story there, maybe I need to make something else to go along with it. So that's just mulling over in my head at the minute, so that might be interesting. And the other thing is, I don't know what the other thing. I don't know what the other thing is. I just leave it with thank you for your comments. Really enjoy them. Thank you for messaging me because I really enjoy that as well. And subscribe if you want to see what else is going on in Marian's world. It's always something. Definitely always something. And in the meantime, thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye from Marian's world.